Trajan, one of Rome's most accomplished emperors, rises from the dust of ancient Hispania like a force destined to carve his name into eternity. And our story begins not in the glittering heart of Rome, but on the rugged frontiers where young Marcus Ulpius Trionis first learned the meaning of discipline, loyalty, and power. Born in 53 AD in Italica, a Roman settlement in Hispania, Trajan grew up surrounded by soldiers, war camps, and the echoes of marching legions. From his earliest days he understood that Rome respected strength more than bloodline, and destiny favored the bold more than the privileged. As he matured, his life became woven with the rhythm of steel and the clash of empire. Trajan was a man shaped by battlefields long before he ever saw the imperial throne. His father, a renowned general, placed him in the heart of military campaigns, teaching him not just how to command legions, but how to understand them, how to read the pulse of an army, how to win the hearts of hardened soldiers who followed a leader only if he earned their respect. Trajan earned it with sweat, scars, and victories. His rise through the Roman ranks was not political, it was forged by the sword. When Domitian's harsh rule darkened Rome, Trajan's brilliance became a light in the empire's gloom. He was appointed to lead legions on the German frontier, where cold winds howled through forests and enemy tribes lurked beyond the mist. And it was here, amid snow, mud, and unending battle, that Rome realized Trajan was no ordinary commander. He was a conqueror, a builder of morale, a leader who marched with his men instead of watching from afar. When Domitian fell and the aging Nerva became emperor, the empire trembled with unrest. But Nerva did something unprecedented. He adopted Trajan as his heir. It was a decision that would change the future of Rome forever. When Nerva died in 98 AD, Trajan ascended the throne, and Rome embraced him not as a distant ruler, but as a hero who had walked beside them, fought with them, and bled for them. The moment Trajan became emperor, the energy of the Roman Empire shifted. Gone were the days of paranoid tyrants and unstable reigns. Trajan rode into Rome not in gold-laced robes, but as a soldier emperor whose presence alone inspired loyalty. His first mission was simple yet monumental: restore dignity, justice, and prosperity to the empire. He reduced taxes, punished corruption with iron resolve, and opened the doors of power to talented men regardless of status. Rome felt alive again, but Trajan's true legacy would be carved not only in policies, but in stone, fire, and blood. His warrior spirit could not stay caged within marble halls. He looked toward the lands that had resisted Rome for centuries, territories whose defiance insulted the empire's pride. His eyes fixed on Dacia, modern-day Romania, land of mountains, gold mines, and a fierce king named Decebalus, who had frustrated Roman emperors for decades. Trajan prepared for the campaign with a precision Rome had never seen. He strengthened roads, built supply lines, and forged the mighty Danube Bridge, an engineering marvel that stunned the ancient world. When he marched into Dacia in 101 AD, the earth shook under the weight of Rome's determination. The battles that followed were brutal, thunderous, and cinematic carows darkening the sky, Roman siege engines shattering fortress walls, legions advancing in perfect formation, while Dacian warriors fought with the fury of lions. Trajan stood at the front, his cloak torn by wind, his armor scarred by battle, his voice calling his men forward. He fought not as a distant emperor, but as a commander whose presence lit the fires of victory. The first war ended with a fragile peace, but Trajan knew Decebalus would not stay loyal for long, and he was right. Within a few years, the Dacian king rebelled again, and this time Trajan unleashed the full might of Rome. The Second Dacian War was even more violent, a storm of steel that consumed mountains and rivers alike. In 106 AD, Rome triumphed. Dacia fell. Its treasure unimaginable wealth flooded into Rome, and the empire's prosperity soared to heights never before imagined. To immortalize the conquest, Trajan commissioned the Great Trajan's Column, a spiraling stone tale of war, carved in unimaginable detail, still standing today as one of humanity's greatest monuments. But Trajan was far from done. His ambitions stretched beyond Europe, beyond deserts, beyond the edges of every map. He looked east toward the ancient and wealthy Parthian Empire, a power Rome had long battled but never fully broken. Trajan intended to finish what Julius Caesar and other emperors had only dreamed of. In 113 AD, he began the Eastern Campaign, a march of nearly mythic scale. Cities fell before him, fortresses crumbled, and kings bowed. He captured Armenia, seized Mesopotamia, and marched all the way to the shores of the Persian Gulf. For the first time in history, the Roman Empire stood at its greatest territorial height. Under Trajan, Rome stretched from the Atlantic Ocean to the Arabian deserts, from Britain to the Persian Gulf, a vast superpower unmatched in human history. And yet, amid all his wars, Trajan was a builder unlike any emperor before him. He created aqueducts, bridges, temples, and the magnificent Trajans formed the largest public complex Rome had ever seen. He expanded roads, improved agriculture, protected orphans, and ensured the empire's poorest were never forgotten. His leadership balanced war and welfare, strength and compassion. The people called him Optimus Princeps, the best ruler. But destiny, no matter how mighty, is mortal. During his eastern campaigns, Trajan's health began to fade. Exhausted by years of war and the weight of empire, he set out to return to Rome, but never made it home. In 117 AD, in the heat of Cilicia, Trajan, Rome's warrior emperor, took his final breath. Yet his legacy did not die. Rome would never again reach the glory it achieved under his rule. Generations looked back on Trajan with awe. Even centuries later, when new emperors were chosen, the Senate offered a blessing that echoed through time. May you be luckier than Augustus and better than Trajan. His life became the gold standard of power, an emperor who conquered nations, built wonders, and ruled with justice. A leader who understood that true greatness came not from fear, but from respect. Trajan's name stands not just in Roman history, but in the eternal story of leadership, courage, and empire. He was the emperor who rose from the frontier, conquered kingdoms, and shaped the world with his vision. A man born in a distant province who became the greatest ruler the Roman Empire ever knew. And though centuries have passed, the shadow of Trajan, Rome's unstoppable force, still stands tall over history. Unbroken, unforgettable, eternal.